Have you ever been a piece of bacon frying on the stage?
No.
Oh, see, that's one of my favorite memories. It's one of my first few lessons in an acting class. We had to be pieces of bacon in a frying pan, and the heat slowly turns up, and then you had to act out what that would be like.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Performer Stuff's Thank You 5. How you doing today, David?
Doing well, Hannah. How are you?
Good. Today we're going to be talking about acting classes.
Fun. Much needed.
Much needed. I think totally undervalued a little bit. I think a lot of people focus on dance and singing and kind of just let their acting sit in the background a little bit. But
Absolutely.
Some of my best and most interesting things I've learned about myself have been from an acting class. So I'm super excited to talk about it today.
Me too. Yeah, it's always a part of the journey.
Yeah, of course.
To enable yourself to let yourself learn, and then also by your learning and growing, you're helping others around you that are also in the class learning from you as well.
Absolutely. I love it's a place to be vulnerable, and a place to work stuff. I feel like acting comes so much from you. So it's a beautiful thing, really. If you find a nice teacher and a good group of kids to work with, then it's golden. It's golden. So how do you think acting classes benefited you?
I think it's just given me a lot of different perspectives of how to storytell. And at the end of the day, acting is just storytelling. We're telling fears, excitement, romance, humor, comedy. And it's benefited me by letting me understand how I can portray those stories from what is inside me and learning from my own experiences in life and taking those experiences and what I've experienced with others and putting that into the energy to convey a story to an audience. And so I think it's opened up ways to take all the things in my life, good, bad, fun, sad, whatever, and it's enabled me to take that and to share it and be vulnerable with an audience.
Yeah, I love that. I totally agree with that. I love that acting classes helped me figure out how to get grounded in the work and how to I love script analysis. I think that's so fun. Yeah. And, some of the basics of analyzing a script and subtext and everything comes from acting classes. It's not all get up and move around. There's a lot of paperwork that goes with it and breaking it all down. And I think when you have that kind of knowledge of how to do that, in a way that works best for you, you could kind of take on anything.
Oh, absolutely.
So I just love, and, acting classes, it goes back to just being silly. In college, my freshman year, we were doing follow the leader and moving like animals. Everybody laughs at all that stuff. But, you go back to kind of the beginning of how you were when you were in like your infant stages, happy baby, the yoga pose. Like we used to do that all the time. Like such good things. But then those moments of learning physical movement and then the vocal techniques, and then that all, you don't realize it, and it may be annoying when you're doing it, but then when I got to my older years, going into a class, having that foundation was so beneficial.
Oh, absolutely.
So when you take on a script, it's kind of like, okay, I can kind of feel how this character moves and where do they lead from, and how do they sound, and then using the script analysis kind of break down what's going on, what are the characters' motives, how does that all work. So, but then I also love how vulnerable it makes you feel. I've had some good and some bad stories from acting classes, but those are always the ones if I look back at my time in college, at least those were the classes I remember most.
Oh, absolutely. Have you ever been a piece of bacon frying on the stage?
No.
Oh, see, that's one of my favorite memories. It's one of my first few lessons in an acting class. We had to be pieces of bacon in a frying pan, and the heat slowly turns up, and then you had to act out what that would be like.
Oh, did you start laying down?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you stay laying down the whole time?
Well, unless you
And
get
just flop like a fish on the floor?
Well, I'm bacon, not a fish. But yeah, you start on the floor, and then as the heat rises, you just become the bacon and act like you would pop, and different things. And sometimes people would even pop and like flip over. Like, it's pretty impressive.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a chorus line in the song Nothing when she's talking about like you have to be a table and be an ice cream cone and all that stuff. That makes me laugh.
I guess some people do it then.
I guess some people do it. Yeah, it's so funny. I do remember animal studies, and I did it both. No, I remember it from high school, and we had to, what you did, like how we started was we pick an animal, and then weeks of studying the animal and moving like the animal. We created like nests and homes for the animal.
Oh, wow.
And then slowly morphing it into a human, and then taking a open-ended scene and building your character based around that animal. Huh. And I remember all I wanted to be was a honey badger. And my teacher said no. And I won't name his name. And he said, no, I couldn't be a honey badger. And I remember being livid because why can't I be a honey badger? Yeah. And I remember I had to pick a bird. And so I was a crane.
A crane.
And I guess in the long run, it was beneficial. Honey badgers are very aggressive and big movers, and that was already me. So learning how to be very agile and light on my feet and caca a little bit is pretty good. I guess that was beneficial for me, but I'll always remember that scene. So that was pretty funny. So that was my like your piece of bacon. That was like
bacon,
being a crane.
crane.
I like created a nest with a bunch of yoga stuff in the studio. It was so funny. It makes me laugh. So how do you think acting classes differ from high school versus college versus just out in the real world? So I have to start by saying this, that I went to a conservatory high school for the arts. So acting class was built into my day as a full like hour and a half class. So my experience going from high school acting class to college acting class was very similar in terms of techniques and stuff. So I feel like I don't have a big knowledge about what it's like in like a normal, like kind of real high school setting. So if you could kind of enlighten us on that.
We had a drama class that we had to take. So that was probably the closest thing that I would have had. There was always a school musical every spring.
Yep.
And in that process, the director would do some sort of, acting exercises or, talk about like basic stage movement or, characterization. We did a lot of like character development sheets.
Yeah.
Where we do that. But I didn't really have official acting classes till college.
Yeah, it's amazing. I feel like nowadays, especially where we live, they're so based in the arts. So theater classes, tech classes is very normal. Whereas like where I was growing up I think there's a drama class where I think that's more studying different types of theater, the history of theater, and sometimes I feel like you may do a scene, like a Shakespeare, the typical Romeo and Juliet balcony scene. But I have no idea how to speak on it because I don't know. I started doing acting classes in my freshman year of high school, and from there, we grew each year. Like you go to harder topics. You never start with scenes. Like that's from where I started. I didn't even get like a piece of written words for a long time. They want to start you from kind of the basics of your body and your sound and vocal technique, and then work your way up. And that was the same in college.
Yeah,
we didn't do any kind of scripted scenes. The only class I had where I really talked in my freshman year was improv, which I think if you want to be an actor, then an improv class is a
very
necessity.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think with the way that things are today, it's really nice to see that there's more emphasis in those type of classes in high schools.
Yeah.
More so than just the typical speech and debate or drama class. But in terms of an actual like acting class, I think what a lot of people can rely on, especially in the high school and so on age, and even younger too, is community acting classes. And post college, I still took acting classes, and I did it from a community standpoint. So community theater offering acting classes.
Yeah.
So I think if you are in high school and you don't have necessarily acting classes outside of the school, searching for community theaters, community places that can offer those classes are going to be really, really good.
And I think a lot of dance studios as well nowadays are realizing that musical theater is kind of the way to go. So they will have acting classes. My growing up, I took a dance studio like musical theater class, which combined, kind of the three things: singing, dancing, and acting. Maybe not as deep into the acting as a community level, but you got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
So I think that's good. And then David, what kind of feedback actually helps you improve versus what stresses you out?
Yeah. I think feedback that can be collaborative between the director, the teacher, and whoever is leading the acting class. I really feel like if it's collaborative and it's meant to help you improve, then that's the best kind of feedback. If it's something that, you can't really change, if it's something about you that you can't change, or if it's something that the person communicating the feedback isn't really making any sense, then it doesn't have the same kind of impact. So I feel like really clear communication on the feedback really is helpful. Doing it in a way to where if there's an open conversation, to where this person giving feedback is willing to also have your questions about that feedback asked and talked about. That's really helpful. So it's not just a one-way street in terms of what they're suggesting you to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I love peer work as well, peer reviewing in a very kind way. You know what I mean? But it's so funny. I remember there's some standout things that I remember that I'll never forget. And one of them is in my senior year of college, I was taking a class, and now, when you get a script, you're expected to memorize that script, right away. That's just an expectation. And I remember I was doing a scene from Doubt, and I'm sitting there, and I'm in character, and the other character's talking to me, and I'm like, okay, I know my next line, but I'm in the moment, so I'm struggling, to kind of come up with it. And he looked at me and said, if you don't remember your line, it's because your character's not ready to say it yet. And I don't know, that's something that stuck with me for so long. I still think about that to this day.
Oh, wow.
And when I even apply it to my normal life, if I'm having a conversation with somebody and I'm like, I really don't know what to say, I always take a few beats and I think to myself, okay, you just don't know what to say yet. Your character's not ready to say it.
Yeah. And
so that was super interesting. That's something that I always remember. And it's little tips like that.
Yeah.
That I was like, okay, that makes me feel better, because sometimes when I'm so in the moment, I'm just overcome and I don't know what to say. What's the line? And instead of panicking, it's like, your character's not ready to say it yet.
That is,
I don't know,
really
a little drop of wisdom that I got in college.
Probably the one that sticks out of my mind that I've gotten was, don't be afraid to be messy.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times, you start out acting and you think, all right, my blocking is just cross the stage, sit in this chair, pick up the cup, and you're just very, boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
And, been told, if this was you at home or in a party, you're not just going to walk across the room, sit in a chair, and pick up a cup. You're going to flip through the mail that's on the table. You're going to maybe, water a plant or something. But, do the things that seemed, quote-unquote, messy in terms of it's not, pristine of movement or, from your perspective, you're like, oh, the audience is going to think, why is he doing that? do the things that seem natural. Do the things that make you connect to your humanity.
Yeah.
Versus in just knowing that you're supposed to move from point A to point B and then sit down and pick up a cup.
Yeah. And and that also reminds me of a lot of the concept of being consistent, but also finding new things every show. Growing up, I had a really hard time with this concept. And it's super hard to find, like, you have your blocking. You have to stay consistent. I mean, if you're in a show, your spotlight is going to hit at that one point. So you better be there when your spotlight hits, And so how do you find something new in that every night? And I think that really comes down to character work. I think, and as I got older and took more classes, that kind of became more apparent. Every day, you're going to bring something new. That's the beauty of it. And that's why everybody can bring something different to every role. Like, how many Hamlets have there been? 1 trillion. But I think that's like the beautiful thing about it is we can find consistency among the instructions.
Yeah.
But it's what you bring to it that makes it different. And I didn't realize that growing up. I'm like, well, how do I find something new if I have to hit this spot every time and I'm saying this happy line, but there's different kinds of happiness. So it's so nuanced and it's so beautiful. And that's why I hated English class growing up, but I loved analyzing scripts because it's like, there's no right answer.
No.
And that's what's so cool about acting class. Everybody could do the same scene and they could all be different. So that's what I loved them. I hated them when I was doing it. 8 a.m. class. Who wants to go to an 8 a.m. acting class? Terrible. Why would you? Who would even schedule that?
That is very early.
Do you know how vulnerable you have to be at 8 a.m. in the morning?
That is early.
I don't know. I'm like down for like 11.
Yeah,
11
if it's not double
a.m.
digits, then I don't think it should exist. So
in high school I was like, ugh, I don't want to go to class. And then once I graduated, I was like, oh, I missed that class. That was kind of fun. Yeah, they were definitely some of my good memories are from an acting class. Okay, David, are you ready for some stories?
Let's do some stories.
All righty. A question for actors who took/are taking classes.
Okay.
As a newer actor, I'm curious, is there anything you learned in a class that really stuck with you or that shifted your Slats
of the mind, yes.
Yes. Is there anything you learned in a class that really stuck with you or that shifted your mindset / changed how you approach things as an actor?
I mean, I feel like if that doesn't happen when you take classes, then it's not being really impactful.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like anytime you go into a class setting, especially for an acting class, you should come out of it with some sort of, it doesn't have to be a huge change, but I feel like, you are consistently evolving yourself as an actor and then quite quintessentially as a person, as a soul, to learn more about how the things that are inside of you impacts your storytelling.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't really know if I could pinpoint one thing that was monumental, but just every time I've learned under a new director or learned in an acting class, it definitely has been impactful.
Yeah. I think knowing for me, and this has nothing to do with actual character work or anything, knowing that it never gets easier and it's always scary.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for me, that really changed the mindset. Like, I used to be absolutely terrified of getting up and doing a monologue or a scene or whatever. It's still terrifying. I still don't want to. Well, actually, I always nominate to go first, so I don't have to sit and watch everybody else. I'm the girl that's like, can I go first, please? So then I can, like, get it over with.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to spend the whole class, like, freaking out. I can actually watch my friends and my peers, like, work. But I think, like, the huge mindset of it is just everybody's scared to get up and do their work. Everybody's scared of being vulnerable. Nobody wants to suck,
No.
So just knowing that, like, being confident, again, like going back a few episodes, being confident in your prep.
Yeah.
Knowing that, you've worked on memorizing, you've done your character analysis or your scene analysis, and trusting in that.
Yeah.
And every time you do it, it's going to be different. You know, you're going to find something new every time, or you should be striving for that, you know? So, and really for me, it's like really locking in a scene partner.
Oh, yes.
And really, like, what is your want? Like, what do you need from them? And who are you talking to?
Mm-hmm.
That was huge. That's always huge for me. And you always want to make it a tangible person. I always laugh because this was not in an acting class, but it was in a musical theater song analysis class.
Yeah.
And I remember in high school, you know, we used to be, some songs are like, oh, I'm singing to God or a greater universe or whatever. And my teacher used to be like, God doesn't have time for you right now. Pick somebody who's here with you right now.
Yeah.
It always made me laugh because I'm like, you know what, you're right. Like, because you don't know, you don't know like a greater universe kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's hard to imagine. But if I can imagine a teacher or a parent or somebody who's super important to me, you can kind of find the same thing in that.
Yeah.
But you're going to be way more specific if you have that person versus a greater thing. So that always made me laugh. But yeah, finding those scene partners and what you need.
Yeah.
Every monologue, every scene has a need. You're there for a reason or it wouldn't happen.
Exactly.
So just trusting in that. There's a comment, so let's see what they said. For me, and honestly for most actors, we start our journeys trying too hard, thinking too hard, emoting too hard. These were 3 fundamental pieces of advice in my acting classes that always stick with me related to this. One teacher would just stop me or come up to me after the scene and calmly say some variation of simplify. Oh, I love this. Sometimes just the word itself. Sometimes like simplify. Just have a conversation with them. Don't worry about anything else. And that simple advice has never let me down. You don't have to be more than you are. If you're present and you're doing something, then you're acting correctly. Just simplify. Oof, that was good. That was good. I once gave a monologue from Macbeth where I just said it.
Oh, you did. You did. Run around the chairs.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, you don't know that?
Oh, okay, hold on. I gotta run around the chair.
Yes. Good. We're good now.
I go into reading these stories blind, people. So,
Well, you saved us from running around the chairs. Yeah, you're supposed to run around the theater if you say it.
I'm out of breath from the chairs. Oh, okay. I'm gonna just skip that sentence. So they spent hours beforehand working up the emotional turmoil that they thought the character was in. Then went on stage feeling so aggrieved. Is that a word? Mm-hmm. That I was choking up and couldn't focus on anything but spitting the words out. When I finished my first run through, my teacher said, why don't you do it like you would do it and not the character? You have a great voice and it's getting stuck in it. What action are you trying to do? Again, what do you need?
Yes.
How are you going to achieve that need? Oh, I love this. Okay. I realized how self-indulgent, unsustainable, and incoherent it was to work myself up into a tense mess for a scene and how emotionally draining that was. Emotion should spring easily from what you're doing. You shouldn't force emotion and then try to do. I like that. That was good. Except for the other thing.
No, it really just goes back to you really have to bring your personal experiences of life into your character.
Yeah.
You know, let's say your character has the character has their grandmother that passes away.
Yeah.
If you've never had a grandmother that passes away, that's okay. More than likely, you've had something leave, whether it's a death or a separation of a relationship or a friendship. Use that experience to channel it in. So even if you have roles that you have no personal connection to, you find the core emotion for that role, that character, that event, and then you put yourself into it.
And that's what script analysis and stuff is all about. What's that subtext? How can I relate it to myself and make it work? And I love the idea of, you know, growing up being told in a dance class or whatever, you leave your stuff at the door. Whatever you have going on outside, you leave it at the door and you come in. I think that also, you know, acting, you kind of got to bring the stuff in because you kind of got to like use kind of some of the stuff. However, I this also reminds me of, you're getting so tense and emotional, like you're getting emotional before trying to be right. And that doesn't help your outside life too.
Yeah.
Like also what you're doing in here shouldn't really affect outside as well. So if you're going to spend the whole day working yourself up, I mean, how horrible are you going to be outside?
Yeah.
And then you come in here and then it's like, I don't know. I don't like to mix the two. I leave it at the door. I come in, I do my work, and then I leave it at the door again. Because sometimes you get so emotional in an acting class that you don't want to go out into the world. So you got to kind of compose yourself and just remember that, like, what happened in acting class stays in acting class.
Yes.
And just know that that's okay. Let's see what their third piece of advice is. One teacher of mine used the phrase playing the idea a lot. It was a way to describe any situation where an actor goes into a scene with an idea of how it must play out. We're not talking blocking, obviously. We're talking line reads, character stereotypes, parentheses, I'm a professor, I must talk like a walnut and stand rigidly. And the moments where you say, I have to get angry here. You have an idea of the scene that you've decided to play, and nothing your partner does changes it. That's a mortal sin, and the death kneels for a scene. Now?
No.
Kneel? Now?
Death now.
Okay, I can't read. The actor goes in confidently, ready to move and be moved in unexpected ways. Mm-hmm. Again, I mean, I think that's what finding the something new in everything.
Yeah.
Not every line is angry. Or, one time you may be super angry and the line may be super angry, and the other times it may be more hurt anger. You know what I mean? You never know. That's what I love about it. Everybody can do it differently. And every day you run a scene, it may be different, which is what I love about that. Let's see what the next story is.
All right.
Any advice for first day of acting class?
Oh, what a fun little
Run.
memory.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I'm nearly 26, and I've never acted in any capacity in my life.
Good.
Bar one line in my high school's production of High School Musical.
Yes.
Killing it. And tomorrow I'm starting a class in New York City for 6 weeks. I'm nervous but excited. Would love any advice people have. Okay, first of all, how brave.
I applaud that so much.
Like, that's
That's
so
great.
cool. I love
Great.
that. Like, how cool is that?
That's really good.
To just commit.
Yeah. Just do it.
I mean, for me, it's like, don't be lazy and not commit fully.
Yeah.
Go in, give 100%. You may feel stupid. You may feel weird. You may feel like nothing's working, but you have no idea. You don't have no idea how it's going to impact you.
Yeah, I would say just be authentically yourself.
Yeah.
They, you're not, this isn't an audition, so they're not really looking necessarily to cast you for anything, but people want to see you for you.
Yeah.
They don't want to see a put together, like, idealistic idea of what an actor you think is. Like, if you go in with like a turban and an ascot, thinking that you're Norma Desmond from Sunset, that's probably gonna be a little bit different, unless that's you. If that's authentically you, go for it. But just be yourself.
Yeah.
And have fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. Have fun. You're going to be doing weird stuff, trust me. So just go have fun. And just commit. The teacher's going to tell you to do crazy stuff. Yeah. And just do it. You never know what can come out of it.
A bacon on the floor. Like, you never know.
I really hope your class doesn't do that. Moving on. Just finished my first acting class. It was amazing.
Good.
I just completed my first acting class a couple of nights ago, and it was awesome. I never had any formal training or experiences beside the ones I had in college when I was able to do theater, short films, or other student projects, but put it on hold because of life. Now I'm older, and I've decided to finally pursue acting. Going in, I was still doubtful about certain things, but I had two goals. One, to find out if I had the same feeling back in school that truly made me happy. Two, if I could actually act/have the potential to do it. Fortunately, I've checked both boxes. I'm not from North America, but my acting coach studied in the U.S. under an amazing acting teacher there, is actually 2 years younger than me, and has won awards here in my country. Besides being a good actor, he's also a no-nonsense dude who doesn't sugarcoat, which was great. And he gives good insight whenever you ask something, which I did a lot. The gist of it is that he said I can act and have the talent to pursue this if I really wanted to, and he told me age isn't a factor whether you start early or a bit late. I did well in almost all of our exercises, but he listed down the things that I need to work on. It's not a lot, specifically being too intellectual and that I overthink a lot, which is true in most cases in my life. He said that I'm thinking way too much in terms of how I want to deliver my lines, my movement, etc., and is the reason I'm having emotional blocks. Knowing that I need to work on and understanding the criticisms from the coach and his staff alongside the opinions of my classmate is so enriching for me, both the positives and the negatives. I think I've done well in my first class and is a good boost in my morale that someone competent and good said that if I continue working hard for this, I can do it. I'm planning to retake the same class in a couple of months and try to iron out things before I move on to other classes. This has rejuvenated me in so many ways, being able to do what I love, even if it's just in the learning stage. I mean, the same feeling is there under all the stress and anxiety that produced by some of the exercises. I have also met some amazing people, which is a plus. I just wanted to share my experience with those who also lurk here who want to pursue their acting dream. Take note, I'm way older than most of the people asking if they're too old to start or whatnot. Also, I wanted to ask actors here what they do to practice the craft when they're not in class or on set. I have a rundown of the class I took, and I know I can do them at home, but I'm curious if there are other things you can do at home to keep improving, even if by yourself. I don't want to stagnate just because my first class went better than expected. I love that you had a good time in this class. Like, this is so exciting. Like, I love when people go. I know people are scared because it's scary. So I'm glad that there was such good experiences and you have a teacher that you trust and you get along with. That's really good. How to practice the craft when you're not in class or on set. First of all, you'll always see me driving in the car with my jaw relaxed. A lot of the time, like, we hold so much tension in our jaw and our tongue. I do my tongue exercises all the time, but that's like some vocal stuff. But for me, I love watching movies, TV, listening to audiobooks for voice actors. Storytelling, you can learn so much from listening and viewing other things.
Yes.
So not only can you work a monologue, like you can pick a new monologue and do your analysis, read the whole play, do the analysis of it and work it. I mean, that's always great. You can do that by yourself,
Yeah.
But I think learning so much, you can learn so much from exposing yourself to different actors.
Absolutely. You stole mine because I was going to say watching TV and movies because to see, especially getting exposed to different genres or different time periods in cinema history.
Yeah.
To see the difference of how they approached it. But I think another thing that's easy to do that will help eventually with the characterization is to create an emotional journal.
Okay.
And so you pick an emotion like anger, sad, happy, and then you write down underneath it events in your life that you've experienced that go with that emotion. So when you have to emotionally call up that feeling in a scene or with an acting partner or a monologue, then you have the idea of, all right, if I need to go to fear, I fell off my bike, when I was 4, what that felt like. And so you keep an emotional journal, and that's something you can do easily at home in between to kind of build that up.
That's interesting. I had never done that. So I would have no idea about that. So that's super cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for the little fun fact, David, the little tip. Our last story. Are you ready?
Sure, yeah.
Am I just not cut out for a classroom setting acting class? I don't know what's going on with me lately. I've been acting for 4 years now. I'm on my second school. And when I'm on set or on stage or even doing a self-tape, I feel confident, motivated, and competent. I love it. I even love the prep of building the role on my own during audition prep and especially after I book something. But when I'm in class, not just now, but always, my anxiety just completely annihilates me. Everything I said I wasn't going to do, I do. I rush, I push, I get stiff. I've taken anxiety meds for it, practiced deep breathing, I've meditated, but I guess the thought of being watched by my peers and knowing that no matter how much I prepare, my teacher is going to find something to critique on me, which obviously it's their job and I'm paying them for it. But still, it just messes with me. I was feeling confident in class towards the end of the last year, got moved up to the advanced course, started that. But I've recently just been absolutely collapsing under the pressure like never before, and I'm just not finding a way out of it. I'm beginning to honestly dread and hate going to class. Has this happened to anyone else? What did you do to work through it? Or did you just say screw it and invest in private coaching? No, don't invest in private. I mean, yes, you can invest in private coaching. A private coach is great, but you need your peers.
You know, I think in the long run is if you want to pursue acting, whether it's on stage or on film, TV, or whatever, you're always going to have critics.
Oh, yeah.
You know, audience members, people online, social media comments. So even if you move to a private coach, that's not going to cut out you being at some point criticized or given some sort of feedback that you're not, you know, probably not going to enjoy. People have opinions. That's just humanity.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I feel like, you know, there's obviously criticism that can help, but there's also just people just being nasty as well. But I feel like, you know, one thing that really stuck out, what you were reading, was the idea of we have to kind of get away from the idea that constructive criticism is a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, the teacher's there to help you improve. You know, the fact that you're going to classes in a teacher to student setting means that there's something to be learned. And the only way to learn that is to be told, change this, do this, you know, move on this. So I feel like the whole idea and the mindset, they asked if, you know, how do you change your mindset, is to get to the idea that criticism is not your enemy.
Yeah.
It's only going to make you better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, everybody's terrified. It's not just you.
Yeah.
So going in knowing that, like, you've done the work, you've done the prep, and it seems like in private, like for self-tapes and auditions or whatever, you feel super confident, then you already know that you're confident in your prep for acting class.
Yeah.
I used to be at high school, I was absolutely terrified. And that's why I always went first.
Yeah.
To get it out of my head. Because the longer I sit there and wait to go, the more terrified I get. So I knew that my anxiety got really high if I couldn't go first. So if they asked who wants to go first, Hannah wants to go first because I want to get up there, do my stuff, not think about watching everybody else do their stuff. So then by the time I do it, I can feel relaxed. I can go watch everybody else and learn from them. So there's 2 comments. Let's see what other people had to say about it. I always explain in our classes that it is more difficult to perform there than out in the world on a job. Correct. Outside, everybody has low expectations and they're focused on their part of the job. And in class, everything is focused on you and you want to excel. The pressure to be good and impress is the thing that gets in the way of being authentic and in the flow. You literally care too much. Care less. That's why our best auditions are the ones where we don't want the job. I agree with that. I mean, yeah. That's why the less we try to be good, the better we do. A scene is just a slice of life. It doesn't have to change the world. I needed that. The pressure of a class often makes the actors and teacher forget that. We always work with cameras, so the actor doesn't have to take our word for it. They can watch themselves like any other viewer would. So don't be hard on yourself. It's part of the dynamic of the class that should be acknowledged.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
A scene is just a slice of life. It doesn't have to change the world.
Yeah.
Second comment. Don't worry, you're learning. Part of learning is failing. Yes.
Yes.
You have to fail in this.
You do.
I mean, you go to auditions, you're going to fail. You're going to get rejections and fail all the time. This is
is part of it.
This is what it's about, failing and being comfortable in the failureness. Failures. Part of growth is frustration. It was for me, this commenter. When you're working, you're in performance mode. When you're learning, you're in learning mode. It's a very different feel.
Yeah.
When you work, you don't want to actively think too much on what you're doing. It'll ruin your presence and ability to react in the moment. When you're learning, you're trying to generalize insights so you can use them when you actually work. You also see other people working on the same assignment, which means you're forced to think about which solution you prefer. Often you prefer what someone else does, and that can leave you feeling inadequate. There's nothing wrong with you. You're probably frustrated because you feel like you can't immediately solve the assignment. That's not really the goal of an acting assignment. The goal is to get you thinking about what you're doing. The reason it's hard to be present is that you're actively considering what you're doing. I agree with both of those comments.
Yeah,
I think they're
really
great.
to add to it.
Yeah. I mean, It's hard. This work is hard.
Yeah.
All righty, David, it's time for news.
News bulletin.
The little ticker on the bottom. Broadway news. I'm done. Okay. Michael James Scott sets final bow in Aladdin after
Yes.
4,000 performances.
The genie has finally been set free.
I love that.
Going on his vacation.
I love that.
No, it's just he's been such a staple.
Oh, I know.
You know, if you go to New York, all the digital billboards, if Aladdin shows up, it's him.
Yeah.
As a genie. So he's going to be missed. You know, he's one of our Orlando natives, so we love him.
Yeah.
And so, but it'll be really interesting to see where he goes next.
I know he's in the Scrubs reboot.
Oh, that's
So
right.
I think he's like going to TV, which I love.
Yeah.
He's so funny and he's got such a big personality. So
Oh, yes.
I'm like super excited. Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah.
Over 4,000 performances is a lot of genie. That's a lot of wishes. Do some quick math for me. What is that? Over
gosh.
12,000 wishes?
Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah, that's a lot of wishes.
That's a lot of wishes. Whitney Levitt breaking Chicago box office records as Roxy Hart.
So it's always good to see Chicago give some sort of new energy to it.
Yep.
And so I love it that they're, again, finding, as we've been talking about in this episode, new ways to invent a character.
Yeah, they broke like a box office record for a single week with her in it. I'm glad that it's bringing new audiences to Broadway. Maya Rudolph is making her Broadway debut as Marion O'Mary.
I hope I can get to see this because
She's hilarious.
she's so funny. And so I think she's a perfect fit for the cast.
Yeah.
The show is fantastic, and her unique sense of wit and humor is going to be fantastic for this.
Yeah. I can't believe it. Like, that's so
Yeah.
exciting. Why haven't we thought of this before? Anyway, congratulations to her. Schmigadoon, based off the Apple TV Plus series, is debuting now on Broadway.
So I never watched it.
I didn't either, so I don't know much.
You know, now they've had a lot of good success with bringing things from TV or movies to the stage.
Yeah.
Stranger Things is going great right now. They just had a cast change.
Yep.
And so it's very possible for this to be an exciting new addition to the Broadway
I think
lineup.
it's funny and it's like super light and
And I feel like anytime that Broadway can make fun of itself, it's just always a good laugh.
Yeah. I think it's perfect. I think it's something
Yeah.
we need right now. So that's super exciting. And our last piece of news. Mariska Hargitay is making her Broadway debut in Every Brilliant Thing.
So excited for this move. I'm a huge Law and Order fan.
Yep.
So
I feel like most of the world is.
Oh yes, and so love seeing her in that, year after year. And what's really cool about this is that so many Broadway actors act as cameos in Law and Order. So it's
time. It's time.
It's time to get her into a Broadway role.
This show, it's so exciting. I mean, the fact
It's
that like Daniel
great.
Radcliffe is doing like, I'm going to New York in a few weeks. I'm dying to see it. I
Yes.
hope I get to see it, and it's just like, I love this for them. Like, and I love the people they're choosing. Like, it's a hard show.
It is. It's all on the shoulders of one person.
And it's a lot.
Yes.
And I just love that, like, transitioning from Daniel to Mariska. I mean, they're both brilliant.
Yes. And the play is so heartfelt. It's you talk about what we need. We need laughter and we need heart right now. And both that combos into that. So.
I'm just so excited. There's so many good things happening right now. So I'm so excited to explore more. And that is going to conclude our episode of Performer Stuffs. Thank you, 5.
And if you need any monologue needs or audition cut bundles, please check us out at performerstuff.com.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.